Okay, so I've got this on video too, but I'm telling the story a second time just to make sure it's backed up somewhere, because they can manipulate video and audio, but sometimes doing it twice throws them off. They can also manipulate memories, by the way. Anyway, so I leave my parents' house. Dad's acting a little weird like usual, and I get done over there and I decide to come pay my grandma a visit, because I knew my parents were lying about saying that revolver that was in my dad's middle console was my grandma's, whom they took it from, because she was, quote, confused. First of all, you don't do that to somebody. That's theft. I don't care what the reason is. Second of all, my grandma doesn't have a gun. She never has. At least not one where she knew where it was, and that's what she told me. At most, what could have happened, and this is also bullshit, just so everyone's aware that I know, they could have found your grandpa's old gun, but it wasn't old. It was a nice new Smith & Wesson, not a 38 Special like it says in the police report. It was a .357 Magnum. I remember that very well. So in the police report, they've got it wrong. I don't know why they keep saying it's a 38 Special. I mean, yes, it accepts 38 Special, but it's a .357 Magnum. It was, anyway. They turned the light back on just now. Perhaps they're listening to this. I'm gonna figure out how to collapse this wagon thing. Don't know how. How does it work? Oh, easy. All right. Anyway, so I get my lift started, and I go outside to gather my belongings and to put them in trash bags and stuff, and I realized that I had left my knife, because I left it outside just so I wouldn't be bringing it inside or whatever, and because it's not needed inside. But when I came back out, I realized I couldn't just leave my knife laying open in the trash bag or something. It would cut it open. So I stuck it in my holster, or sheath, which is on my belt. And so I came in. There's no way she actually saw it, because I tried to kind of conceal it a little bit. I put my shirt down over it and stuff. So she couldn't have actually seen it. Highly unlikely, anyway. And I go to sit down. I'm waiting for the lift, and we're talking about when the lift is going to come, how much it was, and everything. When she either gets a call or places a call, I can't recall. But it's my Uncle Mark. And he's asking if she's okay, if everything's fine, and she won't answer. She doesn't respond. And they just hang up, apparently. Then She places or receives another call, and it's my dad, and he asks pretty much the same thing. And the same thing happens. She doesn't respond. And they just hang up. Then within 5 to 10 minutes, I mean, we're talking some speedy shit going on here. Almost teleportation level speedy. My Uncle Mark shows up. And kind of surprised / shocked about this. I'm like, okay. I mean, at first I don't really respond. I'm just letting him go about his business. But then he makes a comment that it's a little late for a visit. And I'm thinking, okay, who are you? She's an adult. She wants me to leave. She can tell me to leave. But I told him I was in the process of getting my lift, waiting on it. She stays up late anyway. Everybody knows that. I know that. She always has. It's just the convenient excuse for them to act like I'm doing something wrong. So within 5 minutes after that, after his arrival, and as soon as I heard footsteps approaching and the door opening, I knew it was my dad. And I knew at that moment that everything I've been talking about is 100% real and true. All of it in that moment was confirmed. Both of them coming over as if, what? What? What are they going to do? Hurt me? I took it as a threat because that's what it was. He's done this before, not this exactly, but demonstrated strength beyond that of a normal human being, and agility and speed. He was able to completely disorient me and throw me out of the garage of their house on Lakeview within seconds before I could even begin to think of how to respond to what he was doing. He had his hands on me 10 to 15 times in seconds, pushing me out the door like a fucking robot, like a Terminator. That is when he put me in the headlock. And the headlock, by the way, was so intense that I genuinely feared for my life, which is why I pulled out the knife that was in my pocket, held it up, and he let go. Situation ended. A demonstration of the beneficial power of a weapon. Because if I had not shown that weapon, pulled it out, it's possible he could have injured me severely in my neck. But because I had the weapon and was willing to pull it, the situation was de-escalated and ended. And, that all started because I was about to walk to Anna's room to talk to her, since I hadn't talked to her in so long, and I felt as though my parents were kind of hiding her from me for some bizarre, unknown, and potentially nefarious reason. I wanted the truth. I wanted to know what the hell was going on, why she wouldn't talk to me, etc. And they didn't want that discussion to happen. So what did they do? They pretended like they thought I was some kind of threat to my daughter. And he used his entire strength, whatever he is, robot, alien, demon, whatever. Definitely not just human. And pushed me out of that house like I said, like the T-800, except not as buff. So anyway, I felt the same, energy again tonight. They were trying to instill fear in me. I felt it. I felt that external stimulus, that external way that they do their fear and control. So they had that turned on. And him grabbing the backpack like that is their show of dominance. It's an attempt to get me to stand up for myself so that a confrontation can occur, and then he can have an excuse to use his superhuman strength on me. It's also an attempt to make me feel threatened, to make me feel afraid, scared. It is certainly not the behavior of a normal human father. Everything that happened there. Without any doubt. I felt it. I felt the ray or whatever they're using to instill these emotions in me. I fucking felt it. And I think I know how to stop it. Because that's what they count on. That's why they're not afraid of me. Because they can count on the mind control. That's why Mark's not afraid of me. One day soon they won't be able to count on that. The New Orleans police knew they were coming into a situation that might be uncontrollable, and they were right. I fought back. And for a minute there, I was winning. Why? Well, I think it's because of the equipment I was using at the time. The reason they showed up. A better version of which I currently possess. Much better version. Question is, who is that? What is that? It's not my father. What or who is it? And when am I going to be willing to stand up to it? Soon. He picked my backpack up. An insult, show of dominance, a megalomaniacal move to shove me down in the dirt, psychologically speaking. I vow from here on out to not let it happen again without resistance. I vow to myself. My Uber or my Lyft should have alerted me quite some time ago of its arrival. I suspect that they're going to do this crap to me where it won't come, or they'll keep canceling over and over. Because my grandmother even said, can you give him a ride so he doesn't have to pay this $18 for the Lyft? And neither one of them responded. A simple ride in a city that is specifically designed to disallow bike riding and to make walking close to impossible, with sidewalks being few and far between, hills being ridiculous and everywhere. Ridiculous to the point where it actually doesn't make much sense. It really looks like the city itself was literally designed to make somebody without a car hurt and suffer as much as possible. Because, for example, I was the only one walking tonight. Nobody else was out walking. In a city of 60,000, actually more than that, not another soul was stranded without a car. Everybody else in this town that would have been walking down JFK has a vehicle. And they want me to think, they want me to believe somehow that it's a personal failing of mine that I don't have these things. That is the final insult for them. The final blow to get me to believe that it's my fucking fault. Who's this? Is this Lyft? Because they didn't alert me. Oh, hi. Hey. My phone didn't alert me. Sorry, I wasn't fully ready yet. I've got 2 trash bags and like a cart thing and a speaker. Do you think I'd be able to fit it in the back? Yeah. Okay. Okay. You're good. Nobody's gonna come. I'll be quick with it. Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, it should fit. Maybe just barely, but it'll work. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Appreciate it. I didn't even realize I was carrying that much stuff, to be honest with you. I pulled it all in there. Pretty heavy up all those hills and stuff. No.
If I had known we were going further down this way, probably wouldn't have worked up into the driveway.
I think this comes out on Kieri, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure it does. On either side. Alright, so what are you up to this evening?
Well, I was visiting my grandma.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, but I had a very interesting experience there at the end. Yeah, so she gets 2 calls mysteriously back to back. The first one is from my uncle, and he pretty much, I can hear him on the phone, and he asks her, "Is everything okay?"
Sure.
And instead of responding, she says nothing and hangs up.
Okay.
Then she gets another call from my dad, and he essentially asks the same thing, if she's okay, or if everything's okay, and she again says nothing and just hangs up.
Right.
Well, then within 5 to 10 minutes, while I'm still waiting on the Lyft ride, or the details of it to show up, my uncle shows up at the house.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, well, that's a little strange. Okay. But I don't really think much of it until he asked me what I'm doing or something, and I said, well, I'm just visiting. And then he says in a somewhat acrimonious tone of voice, he says, it's a little late for a visit.
Okay.
And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? My grandma stays up late, everybody knows that. I was over there at 9 o'clock, stayed for a couple of hours, so by 11:30 I would have been gone.
Sure.
At whatever, 11:46, yeah. That's not abnormal for her, and she seemed fine with it. So anyway, I thought it was a little weird, but I thought, okay, well, whatever, we'll let it go. But then, within 5 minutes of that, I hear footsteps approaching and the door opening, and immediately I knew it was my dad.
Okay.
And I also knew there's been some things going on in my life lately that have been fairly strange.
Okay.
But at that moment, all of my bizarre theories attempting to explain these strange occurrences
Sure.
became confirmed and verified. At that moment, I knew that I was right about everything. And he comes in and he is pissed. He comes and grabs my backpack that's sitting right next to me in a angry manner, and proceeds to take it outside, despite me saying, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop that. Obviously wanting me to get up and start a confrontation,
Right.
which he has done before on several occasions lately. Now, he's never been known to do that in the distant past. He has changed over the past 5 to 6 years. But anyway, I'm just kind of appalled by this. I'm not getting up because I'm thinking, I'm not gonna abide by this bullshit.
Right.
Finally, I decide, okay, just get up and deal with it later, because your grandma's sitting right there, and she's saying nice things. She's like, she says to both of them, well, why don't one of you give him a ride so he doesn't have to pay for this lift?
Sure.
And they just completely ignore her, like I don't fucking deserve the ride or something. something that, if those things, I'm going to call them, were really my uncle and my father, this would never have happened.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that, but I'm right about this. That, whatever that was, they were some freaking body snatchers. It was not my uncle and my father. It was some imposters. How that works, exactly what that means, I don't fully know. I just know it's not them.
Okay. Not the people you know.
Yes. Fully prepared for it to be something totally weird at this point.
Sure.
Because of a lot of the things I've witnessed and seen over the past several years. Fully prepared for it, but not that I want it to be that. I'd rather they just be them, but that's no longer possible. This kind of mirrors an incident that occurred several years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, where I come over at night while I'm working to visit for a moment with my mom and my dad, and they've been kind of hiding my daughter from me, making it to where she can't contact me, I can't contact her, and just weird stuff had been happening with my ability to contact her, and like they've been controlling her phone somehow. It was all just very strange, and I was starting to get a little concerned about what was actually going on. Mm-hmm. And so I got up after talking with him for a little bit, not too angrily, but just kind of, suspiciously, like, what's going on here? So I get up and say, I'm going to check on my daughter. I get about halfway to her room when my dad, with apparently superhuman strength and reflexes, now he's 62 years old at this point in time. I'm 37. I work out all the time at that point in time. And I've got 24 years on him. And but this mofo jumps up and tackles and puts his hands on me about 10 to 15 times before I can even have the thought of, whoa, what is happening here? And pushes me out the back door to the garage and puts me in a headlock. And only at the point of the headlock was I finally able to think, okay, I'm under attack, and was able to do anything to respond. That's how fast it happened. Superhuman strength, superhuman speed, superhuman agility, and I'm serious when I say superhuman. It was that crazy. Finally, he gets me in the headlock. The headlock has such strength behind it that I can hear my neck popping. And I've had a bulging disc in my neck before in the past, and it started to hurt so bad I thought he was going to kill me. So the only thing I could think of to do was, there was a knife in my right front pocket. I pulled it out and held it up and showed it to him, and he let go. And once he let go, he kind of ran off and went behind the door and kind of hid behind the door or whatever. And I was like, okay, thank God. And that is, by the way, is not the only other incident where he has assaulted or attacked me or kind of messed with me to the point where he's trying to cause a confrontation.
I'm sorry that's been happening to you.
Yeah, it is. It's something I may never understand. I don't know, but I'm working on it.
We're shooting for this one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But I think, even though it was a bad night, there was some success because I gained a lot of information. I would rather have gained it in some other way. All right, appreciate it. Hey, get some dirt on there? Sorry. Sorry about that. It's been rolling around town all day, so.
Yeah, it's seen some. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Watch out, there's some bolt cutters sticking out the bottom.
I'm gonna let you do it.
No, it's fine. It just might fall out. I noticed that earlier. It just kind of ripped the bag. All right. It should be.
Hey, thanks for using it. I hope things get better for you.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. Appreciate it. Have a good night.